Hello everyone, I'm Chester44 and welcome to this Let's Play of Blades of Avernum. Last episode, we unfortunately hit a bit of a dead end. The last scenario I did ended up getting so many bugs that it was at the point kind of unbeatable. At least not properly. So I had to call it. I apologize for that. So we're going to move on to the next one. And this one's going to be the first scenario I'm going to do by someone who has apparently done quite a few scenarios. Terror's Martyr, I believe is his name. Now, he's done a fair few scenarios, but the way I've been going through these is any scenarios that I was told you need to do this one before this one, or you need to do these scenarios in an order, I've been trying to do those first, just so I can get those out of the way. So, we're going to do one of those. Mad Ambition by Terror's Martyr. Let's take a look and see what it's like. Also, I'm using the level 15 party, even though it says 10 to 18, because I took a look on the high-level party maker. It had one of the books saying something about it, and it suggested level 15, so I'm going to go with level 15 so as to not be incredibly frustrated by the fact I seem highly under-leveled for it. Like with him. Anyway, Mad Ambition. Hundreds of years ago, something evil stirred. A revered hero fought this evil, banishing it from this world forever. Such stories lie forgotten, as they likely should, and the person who did such great deeds has since fallen into anonymity. Since then, the evil has brooded, groping blindly for companionship in its lustful search for power. The evil has since come back, and has not forgotten the past that those unfortunate sons of the powerful fighter have forgotten. It is not like you saw this coming. A strange disease, the likes of which nobody has ever encountered, has been plaguing your family for the last 26 years. Cousins and uncles have been perishing, and no hospital knows what's going on. This disease is an instantaneous death, and judging from the final expressions, a painful one. The symptoms of the disease, apart from your bloodline, are completely unknown. The disease leaves no indication of how it manages to be so lethal. There is one identifier, though. On the backs of every member of your family who fell prey to the disease, there is an incision in the shape of a red star with the skin therein torn off. It only shows up post-mortem. The doctors have said that they have no idea how to ward off the disease, nor do they know of its precursors or symptoms. It might be a curse, it might be bad luck. It would be feasible to posit that this entire disease is one twisted soul's malice, but you cannot fathom who would have a grudge on your entire family, nor would the cause of death be so undetectable were it unnatural. You may be on your last strides. You try not to give it any thought. You were a soldier in the Imperial Army. You are shipped off to lands near and far to do the Emperor's work. This time they've sent you to the frontier formerly known as the Ivalice Province. The Ratbane clan, forced off of Avernum a few decades ago, has been experiencing a renaissance in the Ivalice area. Bloodthirsty Nefs have been pounding at Fort Ivalice. You're not currently sure if it still stands. What's happening is a Ratbane revival of sorts. 10 years after General Footracer hacked through northern Valorum, wiping out the Ratbane clan and having the province named after him, the Nephilim have been reforming. It will not work in the long run, but membership is now rising. This makes your job a dangerous one. You and your other 12 comrades, led by Captain Biggs, have been sent to the area. If the fort has not yet been captured and is defendable, you are to assist. Otherwise, you are to either recapture it or return to demand for more troops. You are, as of right now, in the immediate area of Ivalice. You have not yet seen any hostiles, and you hope that your luck continues. This campsite is where you're staying for the night. Since you're not sure if Fort Ivalice is still standing, you don't want to walk into a Nephil trap. Scouts will be sent up the mountain in the morning. Your mat is sitting by the fire. You're supposed to be sitting at it, but you cannot muster the force of will quite yet. As an aside, your first PC in this scenario is essential to the scenario as a whole. You must have a PC in the first slot. Whoever is in your first PC slot at the end of this town must not be rotated for plot purposes. If your first PC dies, the scenario will end. If you decide to cheat and switch characters around, do so at your own discretion. Mad Ambition's plotline assumes that the party is comprised entirely of humans.
While you may still successfully complete the scenario, for purposes of the plot, your party will be treated as being comprised entirely of humans. You may want to change the graphic of your PCs to human graphics for the duration of the scenario, but it is in no way demanded of you. Thank you for telling me now. No, that's not it. There's something driving you to stand, much to your fellow's chagrin. Too anxious. Take your walk. There's no big hurry. This province is dead. The trees themselves look like somebody sapped the life out of them. This barren wasteland is a perfect place for a rebellion. Nobody cares about Ivalice. Being in this place reminds you of it. That is, the ailment. The family lineage one. You try to forget it. Memories like that don't help in the field of battle. The Nephilim. What hope do they have? Do they honestly think that they won't be massacred? Anyway, it looks like it's going to be a long night, and you're going to want to settle down so you don't burn yourself out. You have an open mat near the fire that looks appealing. Something definitely doesn't feel right, but it's probably nothing. Time for bed. Okay, we appear to have invisible walls here. Kind of a bother. Alright. Suddenly you realize what was keeping you on edge. Warrior's instinct. They were waiting for you to become sedentary before their strike. Before you can warn everyone, they spring silently from the woods. Oh dear. Okay, this is not pleasant. There are a lot of them here. Ah, crap. I thought you said when he died. You are dead. The rest of your small unit will have to live without you. Your adventure has ended. Well, dang. No, I would not like to save my progress. Let me try this again. Okay, this time I actually went and saved so that I don't have to worry about that happening again. Okay, this time, since I know stuff is about to happen, alright. And now the attack begins. Excuse me. Enter combat. Let's get this done. There, that's 5 of them dead. You, I'm actually going to say wait. Actually, you two wait as well. Okay, not pleased about that. Okay, there's a lot of death and damage. Okay, there's some more damage. Looks like we can only use this now. Okay, there's some help. You wait. Okay, you provide healing for Draco again. That was effective. You wait. Alright, looks like this time we can get through. Okay, you wait. Okay, a little healing again. You wait. Okay, that one's dead. Another arrow. Okay, that one's done. Okay, one left. The last Nephil falls. Unfortunately, the remainder of your group is also very much dead. You are the only members of your outfit still alive. This puts you in a precarious position. You have to make a group decision, what with Captain Biggs dead and as such. You could go back to the Empire Liaison and demand more troops to be sent to the valley. There's lots of troops in the nearby province of Rhaegar. On the other hand, that route would be fraught with dangers. Since you're alone and the Nephils likely know how much damage you could do if you managed to successfully report back, they'd be anxious to kill you quickly, which would be easy. Plus, the fortress may fall to the Nephils while you're gone anyway, making things far more difficult for Rhaegar troops to not be defeated. The choice is yours at any rate. Okay. I mean, there's a lot of loot here. I don't think any of it is anything we can use. Actually, yeah. Some of it is. Steel longsword. Actually. Some of this does actually have value. Any of these arrows steel? I don't think they are, but there are things that are worth coin. A U-bow. Okay, we do have a steel arrow there. We managed to save one. Okay. So our choices now are either retreat back and ask for assistance, or go to the fort and try to save it. I think going to the fort might be the best idea. We were told that that's where we need to get to, so that's what we're going to do. I have a feeling the fort may be in this direction. As you leave the ruination of the campsite behind you, you survey your surroundings. The Ivalice Mountains lie to your north, at the peak of which lies Fort Ivalice. It would be a short journey to get there. If you want to return to Rhaegar Province, the road heads back east. The road also goes south, but the Aleb Province is a 10 days march at least. This is the way to Aleb Province. Of course, it's a poor way to go down, considering your likelihood of being attacked en route. Plus, it's much further than the Rhaegar Province to the east. You have better options than this. Evil East Province. North, Fort Evil East, Township of Evil East. Well, we're gonna go to the fort. Hold on, let me just regain our spell energy. There we go. It's much easier to move about when you don't have a group of tired soldiers dragging you down. It was still a stupid move to set up camp there anyway, but you certainly would have been an easy kill climbing here. There it is, Fort Ivelisse. Doesn't look too sophisticated by design, but the vantage point gives off a powerful impression, especially when protection is what you really need right about now. The fort has high walls, and inside there's a dim light. The fort at least appears to be staffed by humans at any rate, although you can't say that for sure. There's little wreckage or signs of battle visible. Based on the situation, there might be a chance for helping these people out. On the other hand, they could be a skeleton crew ripe for the picking by any wandering Nephil raiders. The best idea at this point would be to investigate. Unless Nephils and not humans are waiting for you inside. It's your choice. Yep, investigate is our choice. A human! So this fort still is secure. That's a relief. The lone, noticeably alarmed guard immediately addresses you. Pardon me, but you appear to be soldiers. Do you have news of the reinforcements we were supposed to be receiving? You begin to respond, but then the soldier realizes that you have a long message. Pardon me, men. Come closer to the fire if you must. I realize that it is cold outside. Of course. Pardon me, I know you're anxious to get inside, but can we have a quick word first? Of course. The soldier here looks like he has seen a lot of battle, more than likely because he actually has done so, considering the extenuating circumstances in the area. Greetings. My name is Bladesman Anthony. Welcome to Fort Ivelisse, or at least what's left of it. In case you haven't noticed, we don't have as many... He pauses and looks at you and your equipment. Oh, sweet mercy, you were in a battle recently. You're covered with blood. Are you okay? What happened? It's bad. There was an ambush. Anthony listens to your story with worrying trepidation. At the point where you tell him that you were with what was supposed to be the reinforcements, though, he already knows how it will end. That's terrible. I'm deeply sorry for the loss of Captain Biggs and his other men. You shouldn't have stayed there overnight, but it's most definitely too late for that now. Listen, stop wasting my time. This is bad news. You should probably tell Dervish Malachi about this. He's down the road near the next campfire. Oh, and thanks for taking out that raid that was clearly meant for us. Of course. Down the road by the next campfire. Got it. Investigate that in a bit, because you know me, I investigate all outside forts and buildings and towns and all that kind of crap. It's how I work. It's how I roll. Alright. Down the road by the next campfire. As you approach the campfire, you notice that there aren't many soldiers in sight. The situation seems pretty desperate if they've been reduced to this few numbers, never mind the fact that they have no spellcasters. There's one man in bright green armor sitting at the fire. He seems to glow, and has eyes that don't miss a thing. While most of the soldiers are either nervous or uptight, he seems to be completely at ease, in charge. Well, he must be the one we're supposed to talk to. This fort seems to have a fairly basic setup here. 4 quarters to it. Each with one building. Well, almost. Well, there's guards at each place. We should probably talk to him before we speak with the other people here. Once we do, we'll speak with other people. This man is the leader of the fortress, but even without his armor you would know it immediately. He has deep, focused eyes that see everything around him, and he stands perfectly still in a zen-like state. A true dervish acts this way. A true servant of the Empire, sound of mind and quick to action, possesses himself as such. But beyond the military nirvana, there's something more. He seems, if not disconnected, at least at ease with the situation around him. Even the most capable men in the military would be fretting, but this man exudes an aura of incredibly profound contentedness. His ease translates to your ease. He looks at you with a loose smile and a relaxed visage. More so than anyone you've encountered before, this man respects you for coming here. Furthermore, he is not demanding for your respect. His mannerisms asked for it. Greetings, Dervish. He nods. Hello, soldiers. It's nice seeing you here. I am Malachi, and I lead these soldiers in defending this fortress. But enough about me. What brought you here? And why are you covered with flecks of blood? Describe the ambush. Malachi hunches close to you while you tell the story. The other soldiers here pretend not to listen, but each of them is looking at you. At least those not already asleep. Malachi in particular flinches as you describe how each soldier in your unit was killed. His face doesn't contort into a contrived frown, though. He seems to look inward when you mention the deaths, and his visage becomes one of pain. I'm so sorry. Nobody should have to kill these poor, misguided creatures after watching one's friends die in a single fell swoop. Most do not feel pity for the Nephilim. He nods his head. You are right, most do not. I do not blame them for this. In this fort alone we have had 20 casualties. They were all friends to me. Eric, Simon, Sean, Bishop, Watts, Edwin, Brian, Michael, David, Clarence, Robert, Joseph, Thomas, Jonathan, Harold, Suzanne, Tobit, Jack, Link, and Marilyn. I remember you all. But I understand what you had to do when you slew those Nephils. I know how much I would hurt inside, having to fight misguided souls after my friends had been slain. I'm sorry you had to go through that. I can only hope that I can make your life easier now that you're here. What's the status of Fort Ivalice? Look around. We're in a mess, including myself. There's only 12 of us. I'm glad to have you, but you don't make much of an addition. We have a bit of food from raids, but nothing spectacular. Hardly enough to keep us alive. The archers have enough arrows to fire for a long time, but with all of their arrows they'd only kill a quarter of the Nephilim out there. Worst of all, their numbers keep on growing. The Ratbane revival is in full gear. When we were still able to send out scouts, we saw Nephils coming into the northern half of this province more and more by the day. I'll be blunt. This fort will be difficult to defend. So what would you have us do, Dervish Malachi? I want you here. I will be blunt. Fending off a large Nephilim raid by yourselves is an incredible task. You could be worth 9 or 10 soldiers to us easily. You tell them that your orders are to assist the fort only if it still exists, and if it is possible to do so. He nods. Fellows, you needn't have told me that. I am well aware of the way the Empire handles rebellions on the books. What we have here, though, is the real thing. Real Nephils attacking real fortresses. It is not a game. Still, it is therefore up to you to make the judgment call on this issue. You may stay here with us and defend Fort Ivalice, or you may return to Kalzas and request reinforcements. But friends, I want you to know that I respect your abilities and that we need you here. Desperately. Staying would be very difficult and dangerous. I am sorry, but this I cannot deny, and I can only tell my appreciation to those around me, my soldiers. Nothing I can do will ever be worth the risks they go through for their emperor and me. But I cannot stand by. These Nephils are numerous, but where they have numbers, we have might and conviction. We are trained, whereas they, as you probably noticed, are not. Besides, we are much better armed. Their tacticians are also inept, even though you might not believe this. Their surprise tactic is the only one that works, and it only works once or twice before you know how to counter it. All of that would change, though, if we were to fall here. They would have an easily defendable fort where they actually could hold off our troops for years. Dervish Malachi, you genuinely want us to stay? He smiles. Absolutely. You doubt me somehow? If so, then don't. You seem like very level-headed individuals. We need more people like you around here. Seriously. Again, it's your choice. But if you were to stay, I'd be infinitely grateful. We all would be. Yes, we will join you. Dervish Malachi grasps both of your hands and shakes them anxiously. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is an honor. I should be used to it now, due to the altruism of the saints who serve under me, but the thrill of knowing that you would risk your lives to help this effort honors me, soldiers. Wait just a second, okay? You do so, whilst Malachi runs off toward the northeastern building. 2 minutes later, he runs towards the northwestern building. A few moments later, he gets back to where he was standing through the other side. I've unlocked this fort for you. Everything except the controls to this fort, the only key to which is on my person. You should be able to access everything we have, and then some. We don't have much, seeing as how we've easily exhausted whatever supplies we have. We've cannibalized our arrows, and we've picked up the best armor we could use and manage. Other than that, you're free to everything here except for the food. If there's anything you need to ask, feel free. Meanwhile, with this extra manpower I've just received, I'm going to have to start thinking of an effective plan to take the war to the enemy. So go ahead and ask any questions that enter your mind. I'm here for you now, as any self-respecting officer should be. What supplies do you have? Well, we have no shortage of good weapons. Most of us are either better armed or have pet weapons, though, so we don't mind you're taking any of the armaments there. And don't worry about arrows, we have plenty of those too. There's 2 sets of armor that are pretty rough around the edges, but if you're currently protecting yourself with bare skin, they're an improvement, I guess. They're bulky and ineffective, though. There's a bunch of alchemical reagents that we can't use. There's also magic books captured in the same raid. They probably have something to do with the herbs, but I can't read magic for the life of me. Again, help yourself to everything except the food. How is this fort laid out? Well, there are the barracks that we don't use to the southwest. There's also a totally unfurnished forge to the southeast. Administrative facilities currently unused are to the northeast. That's where my room is, by the way. The entrance to the Evil East mines is in the buildings to the northeast. Currently the mines are locked up by a gate downstairs because of a nasty infestation of Nephils who plugged that exit. The mines would be convenient to escape from, but since the fall of Fort Evil East would make this province very easily to defend for the Nephs, I'd rather just not have to retreat. Why don't you use the barracks? We can't sleep for very long here. The 12 of us are the bare minimum needed to defend this place. Any fewer and we'd all be killed in one of their surprise raids. No, having people sleep inside on comfortable beds is a non-option. You can sleep in the barracks if you want, but I'd recommend sleeping in the southeastern one. The other 2 haven't been used at all since we've been here, and the northeastern one hasn't been used since we knew we couldn't sleep in beds anymore. What are your orders now? You! This devotion, I am sorry, is truly entertaining. You kill a small army of Nephilim before you're able to get a wink of rest, listen to me ramble on about this fortress for what had to have been half an hour, and then ask for orders. Rest, soldiers, you've earned it. Rest well. Heck, use the southeast barracks. I will wake you up tomorrow. Fret not, you will have plenty of orders yet. For now, though, rest. Where did you get that glowing armor? This? I was fighting a ferocious, beast-sized Nephil warrior. He walked boldly into the fort alone one day and called himself Zenbu, greatest among the Nephils. I fought him and used my technique to maim him thoroughly and dismantle the hooks on his armor. He was fighting profoundly well and could have won if he tried harder, but when his armor dropped, he fled. Something needs to be done about Zenbu in the near future. With a brute like that at the head of an army, the Nephil's threat becomes that much more real. Understood, thank you. Every one of these guys has a name. Oh boy. I'm gonna make this personal. Well, I think I'm actually going to end this episode here. Next episode, we'll speak with everyone else in the fort and explore throughout the fort entirely. I think what we'll do is we'll speak with everyone here, then start down here and work our way around, ending with the southeast barracks, since that's where we're going to rest and that's going to be the end of it. That'll be in the next episode, though. So, until then, I'm Chester44, that is Fox, Sheik, Bonnie, and Draco. This has been a Blades of Avernum Let's Play, and I shall see you all next time.